Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. I promised you batch dyeing. You'll excuse the camera work. I'm on the frame today. Just wandering around. So this is my pot that I use. It is enormous. I don't know how many litres it is. It's just really big. It's just an aluminium pot. I think they use them to boil crabs in, or prawns or something. So I got it at a camping store. Right, inside the pot we have these little bundles of joy. Now, this is how I do my papers. I'll pull that one out and, or the top one out, and show you what's bundled up there. Essentially, I will put water in this, enough to cover all the paper. Throw in another handful of tea bags. There's actually tea bags wrapped up in the bundles as well. And boil it. Pretty much as soon as it comes to the boil, I'll turn it off. But then I'll leave the papers in there until tomorrow. That way they'll be cold by the time I decide to get them out, which will be great because hot paper's no fun to play with. So anyway, let me show you this bundle. Right, well, I'll be filming this with one hand while I'm unwrapping with the other hand. So you're gonna be shaky because my hands shake. So sorry about that. Anyway, this is a bundle. It has one of those old telecom envelopes, a piece of manila folder, and then, I don't know, 150,000 bits of odd paper. You can see it's all just these big chunks of rusty stuff. Encyclopedia pages, doilies, just old office paper, old paper from old diaries, gardening book, brown paper. This is really hard to... Sorry. I'm really not good at this. There we go. I'll put this here. Ignore the brand name. It's my tortoise. Yeah, more rusty stuff. Bits of scrapbook paper, music paper, all of it in there together, bits of fabric. Yeah, as much stuff as I sort of can find floating around. And then I put tea bags all through it as well, although we haven't come across them. I'm not sure where they are, but they are in there. And like I say, big chunks of rusty metal. So that's what a bundle is. And I wrap it up with a piece of fabric, throw it in there. The fabric gets dyed as well. So bonus. Anyway, I will go put this on the stove, boil it up, and I will bring you back tomorrow when I start pulling the papers out. I'll probably do that outside as opposed to on my kitchen floor. So I'll see you outside tomorrow. In case you are wondering, I do weight it down. Here is my pot on the stove. There, I've got a bowl sitting on top of it. You can see a few tea bags floating around in there. I will put the lid on, like so, and then I will put an upside down casserole dish on the top to weight it down to make sure the paper's all submerged. So there you go, batch dyeing at its finest. I'll see you later. Hey guys, just a quick update on what's happening in the pot. There we go. It's beginning to happen. Like I say, it's a very big pot and there's a lot of water in it. So it's been probably an hour, I guess. So yeah, that's my my weighted top, an upside down casserole dish. So it's all happening. I'll give it probably another half an hour. It should be fully boiling by then. And then I'll turn it off and just let it all cool down and sit overnight. Hi guys, here we are next morning. As you can see, I've pulled them all out of the tea bath. You can imagine that That pot full of water is super heavy, so I pull them out, and I've just got a trivet resting in the bottom of this plastic tub, and all the paper on top, just sort of letting it drain a little. Not that it'll drain very successfully, but it will drain a little. One of the reasons I do bundle up with cloth, as you can see here, is, well, one, it gives me some lovely grungy cloth at the end of the day, but two, it helps me lift the bundles out of the water. Yeah, paper's pretty fragile when it's wet, so this enables me to move it around without damaging it too much. Now I'm going to let this drain a little, go and do my morning stuff, and then I'll set up my drying racks and come out and start laying it out to dry for the day. It's a bit windy here today. It's been windy for weeks, so just going to have to live with it. What do I use for my drying racks? I'll show you. And I won't walk with you. I'll pause you and bring you over. Hold on. Okay, back again. They're not set up at the moment, but these are my drying racks. They're old fence panels. My fence was kindly blown over by the wind last winter, and I have a few of these fence panels that weren't too damaged, so I've held on to them. I've got these two which I've covered in just a bit of scrap wire that I had lying around to give things a bit more support, and then I've got a bundle over there that I'll lay on top just to make sure nothing blows away, because as I say, it's a little windy, so, and it'll only pick up during the day, so last thing I need is a backyard with paper flying around everywhere, because my dogs will probably chase it and eat it and generally be a nuisance. So I will set these up over a couple of chairs or something to make them level, just so it's easy to lay things down, and yeah, we'll get going a little later. Okay guys, here we go. My dogs are playing around me, so excuse the noise that's going on, but I'm not going to be able to unwrap all these obviously on camera, because one, I've got to hold my camera with one hand, and it's yeah, I'm going to need two hands for this. It's wet paper, so but I'll give you some idea of what it's like. This is some of that wrapping fabric. Yeah, I would love to show you how I unwrap them all, but one, it'll be deathly boring to watch me unwrap bloody 6 bundles of wet paper, and two, I need both hands. And you can see the colour that's come off of that envelope, that old telecom envelope, onto that cloth, so that's going to be a nice piece of grungy cloth when we get there. So I'll unwrap as much of this as I can do with one hand, just to give you some idea of what we're working with. Everything's still very wet, so it's still very delicate. This is when you thank goodness that you have some fingernails. Try and slide between things so that you don't rip your paper to pieces. Like I say, this is kind of time consuming and yeah, labour intensive, so you certainly don't want to watch me do the whole lot. So there you go, there's our first sort of piece of paper, piece of old diary paper. It's got some interesting marking on it from the batch dyeing. I keep my tea bags too, by the way, just in case you're wondering, they're floating around in here somewhere. I will dry those out. But yeah, you can see the lovely marking on there. There's grey bits and brown bits and yellow bits, and it's going to be very cool. So yeah, you can see the marks on this manila folder that are coming out. It's a bit pink here for some reason, who knows where that comes from. Sometimes the fabric lends a little bit of colour. Mostly it's vintage fabric, or at least yeah, pre-used, washed, pre-loved fabric, so there's not often a lot of colour in it, but yeah. Anyway, I'm going to unwrap some of these and put them on a drying rack, and I will show you when they're all sort of laying out. Right, I was going to show you this before I put the fence panel on top, but I've already had to pick most of this up at least once because it's blown around. But you can see some of the marks on some of these papers. They're just delicious. Now, bear in mind these will fade as they dry out, but we'll still get some certainly interesting marks on things. This is just some brown packaging paper. You can see where the rusty thing was laying on it. There's some more up here. It's quite dark in the middle. Over here there's some more of that planner paper. I can see it's got some real good staining on it. So yeah, we should have a good batch here. I'm liking it so far. Crazy thing about this, I find, one thing that always amazes me is this was sitting in the pot for about 12 hours overnight. I probably turned off the pot at about, I don't know, 11 in the morning. It was still warm when I got to it this morning at what, before 7. So yeah, it stays for a long time, this big pot full of water with paper in it. So yeah, you can see we had a bit of a blowout here. That's okay, all those bits get used anyway. So. Alright, I'll keep going and I'll talk to you again soon. Alright guys, there we have it. This is one of those bundles. Each rack is 2 layers high with another rack on the top just to keep it from blowing away. Up there is my cloth that was wrapped around the bundle. I live in Perth, Australia, Western Australia, so it's the middle of summer, it's plurry hot out here, and these will dry pretty quickly, so, which is good because I have to do this another 5 times today. Just to give you some idea, here is an escapee that blew out, and this is already dry. It's just a piece of old children's scrapbook paper. I love this paper actually, it's really, really sturdy. Yeah, but you can see some of the markings on there are just amazing. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So, anyway, 5 more to go. So, yeah, I think you've basically seen everything you need to see here. So I will just show you at probably the end of the day the finished product. So, alright guys, have a lovely day. Bye. Hi guys. Well, here we are back upstairs where it's safe. There's no crazy camera movements or anything. And this is the paper that came out of those 6 bundles. I have it at the stack over to the left of me. Just a quick look so you can see how it all turned out. They're the little whatever they're called, doilies, paper doilies. Some of them are very dark, some of them are very light, but yeah, they're all quite interesting. You can see the marks from things they were resting with. So yeah, the paper doilies came out well and not too much damage, although the damage doesn't bother me really. Yeah, there's a very good chance I'm going to tear them all up before I do anything anyway. So yeah, so there's the doilies. The doilies came out nicely, and there's lots of good rust and tea and good stuff like that on them, so happy with those. This is that paper out of children's scrapbook that came out nicely. You can see there's quite a bit of yellow. some rust staining. So yeah, they all came out pretty well. Happy with those. Nice tea stain there. Here's some of the rusted ones. You can see the big pieces of metal that were resting on them. There's some bleed through from a music page that was resting on this one, so that's kind of cool. There's another one the same. So yeah, they came out quite well as well. There's a darker one. Oh, it's got some music and some rust. So, yeah, and some more tea staining, more rust. Just some tea. But yeah, it's a nice batch. This is a really nice batch. They look real old and grungy and gross. Love that. This is the manila folder. Who knows? Some of the marks are amazing, aren't they? There's some of the doily marks. This is the yellow from the envelopes. I don't know where this pink comes from. I have an idea it might be from the brown paper packaging, but I don't know. There's always pink. And who knows where it comes from. So maybe it comes out of the tea. Excuse me. Sudden rough throat there. So yeah, the manila folders turned out nicely. I'm happy with those too. These were the ones on the outside. You can actually see my finger marks. They've got a bit soft, obviously, in the water bath, and yeah, I roughed up the edges just trying to pick them up. And the back of that's quite bright. So yeah, that's all the manila folder. This is scrapbook paper from old folders that my daughter has brought home for me. And you can literally see the old planner on here. You can see the lines and the dots on the side of the little openings where the where it was in the book, and you can actually see the printing. So that's very cool. So yeah, there's another piece of that bleed through from the music page. Funnily enough, that music is it's not printed. It was just a music booklet that I tore apart, and it's black. There's no. I'm guessing it was printed in colour, but black, if that makes any sense. Again, you can see some of that printing, or the ghost shadow of the diary it was up against. You can see some of the paper doily here. So yeah, this paper's terrible to get out of the water. It's very, very brittle when it comes out. Just, yeah, it's almost mushy. It's gross, but it dries up beautifully, so happy with that. Here is just some gardening book. Got some beautiful rust staining on the back, a bit of tea as well, and a bleed from whatever it was sitting up against. Looks like a children's book. Still a little transfer there. So yeah, they turned out nicely as well. There's some print transfer from something it was resting against. Lots of rust and tea. A bit of yellow from the envelope. Yeah, I just love how grungy these come out. They're just really good. There's some more print on that one. More print again. So yeah, batch dyeing is not for the person who likes to get things done fast. This is more music print. It is, oh there you go, there's that picture that was transferred onto the other one. Music page and yellow. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say they don't like coffee dyeing because it's too labour intensive and takes too much time and blah blah blah. Batch dyeing is 10 times worse. I think the only way to do it, I do it during summer here, obviously, only in summer because you'll never get it dry otherwise. That's some beautiful rust stain. Excuse me. Don't know where that's come from. There's some tea stain, more pink, just random pinkness, and then the yellow from the envelopes. Oh, that's very yellow. Look at that little spot of pink for some reason, and another one. But yeah, it is super labour intensive. It takes a long time. But I think the only way to do it is, yeah, like I say, do it in summer, and just, I don't know, give yourself over to enjoying the process. It is not easy to peel all these little bits of paper apart, but I think if you give yourself over to the joy of the process, it's easier to do, you know, just picking apart every little piece of paper. You know, trying to get it off the pile of other wet paper without damaging it. Just, you know, it takes a little bit of skill, I guess, and if you give yourself over to the joy of the process there, and you know, just take your time and, you know, get a thrill out of getting that super delicate piece of paper doily off of, you know, a big chunky piece of brown paper packaging. Yeah, if you can learn to enjoy that, then it actually becomes quite a nice thing to do. Quite zen. I like it. But I have to be in the mood, you know. You can't do it all the time. You just sometimes just don't have the patience for it. So this is old encyclopedia pages. So all the different papers pick up different colours from everything around them, just based on, you know, I guess what the paper is made of. And, you know, this is glossy, obviously, a little bit. These are scrapbook paper pages backed with coffee dyed paper that I had pre-sewn, and then I just threw in there. So there's a few of those looking nice and grungy and gross now, ready to be popped into something else. And here you can see some of the grid that this one was resting on. I didn't get much grid on any of the others. There's a few pieces, but yeah, this one in particular. And you can see the music paper on that one as well. So that was a real successful one. Lots of different marks and spots and whatnot. I definitely prefer my my scrapbook papers looking like this. Here is some old office paper. It's all printed on one side. This is a piece of card that's printed on one side. I'll just use these to, you know, make journaling spaces and back journal cards and whatnot with. Here's a couple of envelopes that I just had floating around. They're the old telecom envelopes. Some of them are half envelopes, just depending on, you know, what I pulled out of the box. So that one's got some nice rusting on it. So yeah, that's all of those ones basically. Now you've had a good look through my paper. Probably too intensively good look through my paper. You're probably like, why are we doing this exactly to such an extent? But I thought I would show you. People wanted to know about my batch dyeing, so you might as well see it all the way through. Right, so that's that pile looked at. I have to go and sort out something for my dog, who is frantically trying to tell me she needs a blanket. So I'll come back and show you the rest in just a moment. Right, our next bundle is just this planner diary from 2020 or something. Don't know. 2012, there you go. It's almost an antique. Right, there's some pink, some yellow, some tea, yeah, you've seen it all already. There's a big rust stain on that one. Some nice grey on this one. So yeah, they all come out in different colours. Quite a bit of pink in this. Tea bag mark. Big tea bag mark. Lots of tea. Yeah, so there's all different sort of shades and grunges of patterns. This one's got blue on it from somewhere. Goodness knows what that was. It's just got a big blue square from something that was resting against. I don't even remember what that was. Anyway, so yeah, those ones turned out lovely. There's some more of that bleed through from the music paper. So yeah, we have all sorts of delicious grungy paper. There's some text, bleed, some yellow from the envelopes. So that's that paper. That came out beautifully as well. Here is the music paper. As you can see, it is just monochrome. It's just black, but it must have been printed in colour, I guess. So the black is made up of all different colours, not just black ink. Because yeah, it bled blue on everything. So, but yeah, this turned out beautifully. This as well was very, very delicate when it was wet, but now that it's dry, it's just lovely. Nice yellow one. Fair bit of pink on that one. Nice rust stain there, a tea stain either way. So yeah, these turned out lovely. There's some watermark. Sorry, there goes my glue. It's just my glue stick. I'm not worried about it. Yeah. That's the thing about these. If I drop water on these as well, they will watermark, which is also interesting if I want to get a few more effects on them. It will sort of bleed out, and when it dries you'll see the watermark, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, so yeah, lots of different marks and stains and bleed throughs on these as well. So the music paper was a success also. I'm happy with that. Now this was a glossy book. It was a I don't know, some sort of come and see England kind of book. You can see some bleed through from some pages there. Excuse me. I don't even know what this is about, but yeah. So yeah, there's quite a lot of very glossy pictures. I will probably cut these out and back them as journal cards for a travel journal at some point. Yeah, some beautiful colours on this one. So yeah, I like all the staining and whatnot on my pictures. Makes them look old and scabby when I make something out of them. And you know, that's what us junk journals are into, old and scabby things. That's some interesting rust. Again, I actually have, well, I have these big chunks that I put in this batch. I also have a container of rusted things, or a box of rusted things over on my shelves. It's full of keys and bells and I don't know, all sorts of rubbish. And yeah, sometimes I scatter those through as well. So, and there's a few more things under the brown paper, but here's the brown paper. The brown paper turned out beautifully as well. Again, the music bleed through, tea, more music. Love the brown paper. The brown paper comes up real interesting to me. It's really nice. Picks up all the sort of darkness from the tea and you can see there's some marks from the doilies, the paper doilies. And some marking from the side of those diary pages. So yeah, there's all sorts of interesting bits and bobs going on there. So I won't dull you by showing you every piece of paper. I know I pretty much have so far, but yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of brown paper. They're great. Again, the music, something else laying on top of it, and then the tea bags. So that's why I like to wrap tea bags in my bundles. I get the interesting marks from them as well as, you know, clearly the tea going through everything else. That's a nice one as well. So yeah, there's lots. Oh, there's another piece of that scrapbook paper, ended up in the wrong pile. I'll move that. I like to keep them in sort of separate piles so I know what's going on. This is all scrapbook paper that I don't particularly like. You know, there's nothing wrong with all. Some of it I do, but I just wanted to put some tea staining on it. But yeah, it all came out pretty well. Can't be complaining about this. There's some doily marks. You can see that's not really something I'm excited to use in its natural state. It's quite bright, but it's dulled it down a bit. Some of it I can use, some of it I'll just use this side because, you know, this is a nice piece. This one I'll use. And this one. But yeah, you get, you know, this is beautiful. Doily here, tea bags here, more doily. Yeah, there's some great marks. Bit of yellowing. You can even see the postage paid stamp there. So yeah, I'm very happy with those. Those turned out just lovely. Some of them I'll use double-sided, some of them I'm just going to use the back, and yeah, forget they were scrapbook paper at all. So yeah, they turned out great. Very happy with those. I guess it goes faster and is easier if you use sturdier papers. I mean, if you just used scrapbook paper and brown paper and glossy magazines and stuff, it would probably be a lot easier to batch dye. But I like all my paper to look revolting, so yeah. Well, this is just more scrapbook paper. This is just a lot. Apparently I had a lot in this bundle. I had to clean out of my drawers and put it all through. There's some rust and tea and whatnot, and yeah, I'm unlikely to use that side, so it will be back in for something. So yeah, so there you have it. That's pretty much it. I think that's the whole batch, the whole 6 bundles. So that one is just beautiful. So yes, I have now officially shown you my batch dyeing. So batch dyeing, bundle dyeing, however you like to call it. It's easy. It is easy to do. It's just time consuming, labor intensive, and not terribly exciting if you do not learn to enjoy peeling delicate papers that are wet and soggy and easily torn off of each other. So, and waiting for them to dry and then doing more. So that took me probably all of yesterday morning. Like I say, it was a really hot day here, so yeah, it went rather quickly. So I was happy about that. So do not, under any circumstances, attempt to do this in the winter. I've done it before. You just end up with a pile of smelly, wet paper that you just cannot get dry quickly enough. Because, I mean, if you just did one bundle, I suppose you could just sort of lay it around the house and dry it out. But because I like to do en masse, get it done, yeah, you just end up with too much paper to deal with. Oh, and this is the fabric that came off of it. So yeah, the fabric ended up nice and grungy and gross as well. This was all very bright. This is an old shirt. It was just red and white basically. So that is lovely. Just a bit of red check. You'd think that some of that colour came out of the material, but none of it did. Like I say, it's all second-hand old material, so yeah, this is beautiful. I love this. The gingham with all the staining from the tea and the rust on it is just lovely. Yeah, so there's no bleed from the fabric as a general rule. Oh, sorry, smack you with my hand when I'm trying to show you my material. So yeah, there's lots of different material there. This turned out nice. With that, this is lovely. With this like spots and stains and yeah, looks like an old petticoat somebody dug up. Feels like an old petticoat. It's just that sort of material. But yeah, look at the yes. So yeah, I have a bunch of very stained old looking material that I'm very happy with, and a very big pile of paper in the same condition. So yeah, give it a go. Yeah, just find a bunch of different random papers, layer them up in piles, wrap them up in some material, tie it together, intersperse the pages with some tea bags as you go and bits of rusty metal, and then go and boil the living daylights out of it, and then wait till the next day and see what you got. So yeah, not exactly a science, but you get some really nice effects. So alright guys, thanks for that. I think it might have been a bit long, but yeah, I hope it was useful. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, we'll see you here again next time. Bye.